All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs' loss to the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 3 of the NFL season. So, like I just said, the Chiefs just dropped this game to the Los Angeles Chargers at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs now move to 1-2 on the season, and the Chargers advance to 2-1. This is the first time in the Mahomes tenure that the Chiefs are actually fourth place in the AFC West. I'm at a loss for words. The Chiefs in this game did not look anything like the Chiefs in the past, and that's concerning. But, let's get to the positives. I guess you could say there's positives from this game. The biggest positive in my mind was the defense. Coming into this game, the Chiefs had the worst ranked defense in the NFL. They gave up 6 yards on the ground per carry, which was terrible. I mean, I can't even believe that they won the first game. But they also were able to stop this Chargers team, at least for the first couple quarters. I don't want to say this Chiefs defense was perfect, but I'll go as far to say that you can win games with a defense that is playing in the way that they did. Because I thought that they made some big-time stops in this game, and it got overshadowed by Justin Herbert taking the ball in the fourth quarter with under a minute to go and just marching down the field. But I thought this defense played well, and I might get crucified for that, but I think the thing that I noticed differently about this defense is in previous games, they've let the other team's offense come to them, but in this game, I thought that they were attacking and playing downhill, and that's a big, big thing going forward because, it's still week 3, folks. It's a tough loss. Don't get me wrong. I am seething on the inside right now. But you got to understand that it's still significantly early on in the season. So this game every game in the NFL is going to mean something. But, I think that we're going to have to get this team in the right order and get them firing on all cylinders later in the season. We've seen the Patriots drop a lot of early games in the season, and they're still fine. I mean, heck, the Chiefs lost back-to-back games in 2019, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to do that this year. Maybe I did say that, actually. But I think that people are overreacting. It's one game. It sucks. And don't get me wrong, I am fuming. But we got to pump the brakes a little bit. The Chiefs are last in the AFC West. But it's not going to last very long. I think it's definitely tough for this team to be last place because this division looks pretty good. The Raiders look good. The Broncos look good. The Chargers, I already expected the Chargers to beat us once this year. I kind of expected it to come on the road. But, the Chargers are a good team. Justin Herbert is a very good quarterback. They've got great offensive pieces, and the defense made plays today too, But I can't help but come away from this game feeling like the Chiefs did this to themselves. And let me explain why. On the first 3 possessions for the Chiefs offense, they all ended in turnovers. Marcus Kemp, it went off, a pass from Mahomes went off his hands, and it got intercepted by Asante Samuel Jr., which, don't get me wrong, it was a great interception. He had to lay out to get it, but why is Marcus Kemp on the field? I mean, he's a practice squad receiver. He's good on special teams, but he's not a receiver. That was my biggest complaint with that. I don't care that it got intercepted. I mean, I do care, but I care more about Marcus Kemp being on the field and getting targeted. I mean, he was getting targeted over guys like Jerick McKinnon or even Byron Pringle at times today had a few, I guess he actually missed a couple catches, but I just think that you've got to go for somebody else. So that was my biggest problem with that. But on the very next possession, Tyreek Hill fumbled the ball after he made a catch, which was demoralizing. And then on the very next possession, the third possession of the game for the Chiefs offense, Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled the ball again. Again, folks. And that is his second fumble in 2 games. And it took this Chiefs offense out of rhythms. I mean, I really don't think the Chargers had any answer for what the Chiefs were doing in the first quarter and in the first half, really, because the Chiefs were marching down the field, but they were turning the ball over. I mean, they were not able to hold on to the ball. Ball security is so important in this league, and if you want to have any chance to beat the Chiefs, you need to play fantastic football, which the Chargers did, but you also need the Chiefs to mess up, and the Chiefs messed up a lot today. And honestly, the biggest mess up was Patrick Mahomes throwing an interception. He threw 2 picks today, but the biggest interception of the game came with under 2 minutes to go. The Chiefs were down at that point. No, it was a tie game. It was 24-24. The Chiefs were just going to drive down the field and either kick a field goal or go for a touchdown. But Mahomes, and I never rag on Mahomes because I think Mahomes is obviously the best quarterback in the game, and I think that more often than not, he comes up with a great play. But today it just wasn't happening. That pick that he threw in the fourth quarter with under 2 minutes to go, it was forced. He did not have to throw that. He did not have to throw it that far. I mean, that's just an example of Mahomes trying to do too much. And that's frustrating. I mean, that's really, really frustrating. And it just kind of shows you that even the great players make mistakes too. I mean, I even tweeted this out on Twitter. 24-24, tie game. Mahomes has the ball. Watch greatness. And most of the time, I mean, I think Mahomes takes the team down the field and they score, but it just didn't happen today. And, the Chargers got the ball, a crazy circumstance of events. We saw an instance in which the Chargers were backed up on 4th and 9. They ended up completing it for a first down, and then they ultimately scored a touchdown on that drive instead of taking a knee and just letting the clock run out. And Mahomes had another chance at throwing a touchdown and winning the game because the Chargers field goal kicker missed the extra point, so it was 30-24. And, the Chiefs just weren't able to do anything on offense. They tried a Hail Mary at the end of the game, but, some people say it's pass interference. But, guys, I mean, let's be real here. The chances of that getting completed weren't that high. So the Chiefs were able to, they weren't able to, rather, do really anything on offense. And, that's just the moral of the story for this Chiefs team. They can't do two things right at once. The offense and the defense cannot be in sync at the same time. But some people would even say that the Chiefs weren't ever going to have a chance to win this game because they were down 14-3 at the half. They clawed back in it. Jody Fortson had a touchdown catch. They made it 14-10. Clyde actually had a pretty good game. Clyde did fumble. And don't get me wrong, that is a big mistake, but he had 17 rushes for 100 yards. So there is some positives to this game, and I think that Clyde having somewhat of a redemption/bounce back game is a good thing. Travis Kelce had 7 receptions for 104 yards. Patrick Mahomes was 27 of 44 for 260 and 3 touchdowns. Definitely not his best game. Those interceptions were crucial. I mean, it really led to why this team lost the game when you boil it down. But, Austin Eckler wasn't as big of a force on the ground as I thought he was going to be. He only had 11 rushes for 55 yards, and I'll take that. If the Chiefs defense can stop the run like that, they're going to have a chance to win a lot of these games. It just comes down to if the Chiefs are going to trip up on themselves, if the Chiefs are going to give it up themselves. That's what the game comes down to. If they don't beat themselves, they don't lose games, because I really think that the Chiefs beat themselves in this game, and it's pretty evident with all the turnovers. I mean, you had 4 turnovers. That's too. You cannot expect to win games by throwing the ball away 4 times. I mean, that is damn near impossible if this game was even as close as it was, given the fact that you turned the ball over that many times. But, I thought the front 4 today on defense looked pretty good. They were able to force pressure. Mike Dana had a sack. And I thought that all things considered, the defensive line was much better than it's been in the past couple weeks. There was a lack of get off in the past, or in the last 2 minutes of the game. But, I mean, the Chiefs defense was tired. They were on the field the majority of the game because the offense kept giving up the ball. I mean, how can you blame them? So I think that, once the Chiefs clear this up, they're going to be fine. I don't want to give anyone false hope, so to speak, in the division. Once the Chiefs figure this out, they'll be fine. But the problem is, this division is so good, if it takes this much longer to figure it out, we're going to have problems. I mean, the Chiefs are last in the division right now, and the deficit's only growing because the Raiders and the Broncos and the Chargers have a significantly easier schedule than the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's why I'm concerned. But, I also think that the Chiefs are going to fix this. I mean, I think that, the defense was the big problem last week, but I don't think that was the problem today. And if anything, I thought that they came out and looked better. That first drive of the game, that defense was making plays. They were able to stop Justin Herbert on a 3-and-out, and they were able to do that a couple more times in this game. And like I said, this defense was not the problem today. You can win a championship with the way that defense played in the first 3 quarters. I'm not saying that it was great, but I'm saying that it was so much improved, and I thought that they made enough stops to where, as if the offense didn't give up the ball as much as they did, we'd be fine. So I kind of feel like I'm just like a broken record right now, just repeating myself, but it's really, really hard to talk about anything else. I mean, I guess we could talk about the offensive line. I thought the offensive line was abysmal today. Definitely Mahomes could have played better, but the offensive line was brutal. Lucas Niang basically got cooked all day by Joey Bosa, who had an ankle injury, so I would have liked to see Niang step up a little bit more. But, the pocket was just collapsing. He didn't have as much time. But you also got to give it to, or put some of the blame on Mahomes, because there was a couple plays in which he just took it himself and took a couple really dumb hits. I mean, he fumbled the ball. Thank God he fell on top of it. But this game, I'm not blaming it on Mahomes, because you can't do that, but he does take part of the blame. And I think that any Chiefs fan that doesn't give him part of the blame doesn't really have realistic expectations for this team. I'm going to tell it how it is. And Patrick Mahomes threw a dumb interception in this game that pretty much gave up the Chiefs' chances of winning. Now, again, he's still the best quarterback in the game. I'm not worried about him, but that's just the harsh reality of the situation. The Chiefs just did not play well enough today. I mean, when you boil it down, the Chiefs did pretty much everything you could possibly do wrong to lose a game. They gave up the ball. They couldn't stop a defense, or they couldn't stop the Chargers' offense when it really, really mattered in the fourth quarter. And I think that, I mean, they gave up the ball too much. And I keep saying it, but that's kind of my major takeaway. That should be the biggest concern. So, yeah, I mean, I guess another positive, Jody Fortson had a touchdown catch, was the first of his career. So that was good to see. Hardman had a jet sweep touchdown too. So I think that there definitely was some instances in which the offense looked somewhat normal. I mean, I think that Mahomes took him on a 6 to 7 minute drive in the fourth quarter. But, after that, it just didn't end up materializing. And that's frustrating. So, Chiefs Kingdom, I know that you guys are upset. I get that. It was a sloppy game. And we cannot have sloppy football if we want to see this Chiefs team get back to the playoffs and try to win a Super Bowl. I mean, the harsh reality is that this Chiefs team is not good enough to win a Super Bowl at this point in time. They're going to have to get better. And that's in all phases. I've been praising the defense. They need to get better. They need to be able to stop the pass a little bit better than they did. Keenan Allen had a game today. They could not stop Keenan Allen. But, again, I think that the offense has just got to find a way to stop turning the ball over. And once that happens, I think that most of these issues were going to be resolved. So, yeah, Chiefs Kingdom, that's kind of all I got right now. I am going to come back a little bit later and do a post-game show, a post-game live stream to get your thoughts and reactions to this game, because, quite frankly, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how the state of the kingdom is tomorrow and just throughout this week. Next week, we play the Eagles. I believe we play them on the road. I'm not too sure, but it should be a good game in which the Chiefs can hopefully bounce back and at least get back to 500, because this is actually the first time in Andy Reid's career with the Chiefs that his team has been under 500. Or at least, maybe it was the Mahomes year that they started under 500, but yeah, that's not true, because they started off 1-5 a couple years ago. So, yeah, I don't really know where CBS got that stat, but yeah, I mean, I just think that once they clear up these issues, we're going to be better, but it's going to be interesting to see how long that takes. So with that being said, guys, the Chiefs fall to the Los Angeles Chargers by a final score of 30-24, but there's no doubt in my mind that the Kansas City Chiefs will bounce back. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.